Hello friends, Thomas Love Peacock is a friend of P.B.SHELLEY in a witty magazine piece. The title is The 4 Ages of Poetry. The 4 Ages of Poetry. He says that the poetry has become valueless, it is redundant, because this is an age of science and technology. So intelligent people should not go after this. They should give up their literary pursuits and they should put their intelligence to good use. To good use. That's what he says. So in reply to, it is not in reply to this is a rebuttal. Shelley's A Defense of Poetry is a rebuttal. A rebuttal means say something, this is not true. And then he goes on defining poetry. Say, I have already given you about 10 definitions. Poetry is indeed something divine. Poetry is the record of the best and the happiest of minds. Poetry gives pleasure. Poetry gives wisdom. And wisdom and pleasure. And that is the idea of hers. And poetry is praised by the posterity. Good poetry, that way. So then he says, whatever he had, his philosophical assumptions about poets and poetry, about romantic movement in general, you will find in this essay. Understand? So in this essay, it is beautifully written. It is he is analyzing. It is an analysis of the very inner essence of poetry, not a polemic essay. It is an argument. Like Sir Philip Sidney's An Apology for Poetry or The Defense of Poetry. Now it's not like that. He says he has got certain convictions that he is telling us. Now I have already given you some definitions, or you can say his comments or what he has in his mind about poetry. Poet is the creator and he is the legislator. Isn't it? We saw all these things. Poetry ever communicates all pleasures which men are capable of receiving. So these things we have already seen, there's no point in me repeating. Today what we are going to do is, we will have an overview of the entire essay. Overview. So that you can get into the essay yourself and then you can start reading along with what I am going to say. Understand? So first point is, it says definition of reason and imagination. So this is overview, main points only I am giving, and then we will try to explore and expand these points later. But before that you can get into this essay and then you can enjoy this. So I am like Moses in the sense that showing you the Canaan, the land of Canaan, where where milk and honey flow. So that is it. I am, once again this comparison, I am a small Moses. And what am I going to do? I am going to show you, take you to the land. I can't enter. So I will show you the land of Canaan. And there is honey and milk flow. And you can participate in that, like that. A facilitator, so to say. So I am going to facilitate your entry into the land of Canaan, where there are streams of honey and milk. Okay. So here we are. First is overview. Definition of. He defines what is definition of reason and imagination. So what is reason? What is imagination? Reason is intellect and imagination is perception. Imagination is the faculty that helps you to imitate. That is imitative faculty, you can say in general. We will see that. And next is Next point he discusses is poetry. Poetry in general sense, poetry, the general sense of poetry, and also you find the restricted sense of poetry. A restricted sense. Again, we can see by the very fact that you are a human being, you are a poet. See? But in the restricted sense, it's different. See? All human languages have poetry in it. But in a restricted sense, it is different. That you will see. Then he says, poets, the difference between, not a difference actually, he is giving us his ideas about who is a poet, then philosopher, story writer, poet, philosopher, story writer, and you have got others like, you have the story writer, then you have got the historian, and prose writer, and historian. So it says that poet is poet, philosopher is poet, Plato is a great poet, story writers are poet, partial, prose writers are poets, Bacon was a poet according to an historian, Herodotus, he was a poet. So anybody who takes his pen, anybody he imitates dramatic poesy, right? So that is drama. Drama is poetry. But he doesn't say that here. Shelley doesn't say that. That's why I did not mention that. Understand? Poet, philosopher, Samson. And then he says about the effects of poetry on the soul. Fourth point is that effects of poetry on the human soul. How does it affect? Or effect of poetry. Understand? Then there is a digression, a sort of digression. The fifth point is, he gives a critical history of poetry and its effects, critical history of poetry and its effect on society. That is the fifth one we can see. I changed the color also here because it is practically we can say, he himself says there is a digression. There is a critical history, he says, begins critical history. Critical history of poetry. That is the fifth point. A critical history of poetry. And it says, how does it affect the society? The other one is human soul. Critical history of poetry and effects on human society. Now, I think 1/3 of the essay is taken by this topic, critical history. And toward the end of this narration, Shelley himself says, this is a digression. I have digressed a little. And then he goes on discussing poetry of Athens, poetry of Rome, poetry of the Christian system, poetry of the chivalric system, and so on. So what he discusses, poetry of Athens, of Rome, of Christian, and chivalric systems. It's really fantastic reading. You must read it. It gives a very good view from Homer to troubadours of France. That is. So it's a very, what I must say, very didactic. The approach is didactic. At the same time, focus is on poetry, its effect on the society. First one it is about the human soul, society, what happens? Freedom, liberation. He says that even, I cannot say even, the present movement for women's liberation, that is, he says, it is triggered by poetry. That is democracy. Because Rousseau was a great poet, he says. Rousseau was a poet. See, Herodotus, he was a poet, a historian. So this section, so it's not a section, it's not divided into sections. We are dividing the whole thing into sections. So you can see, you can briefly go through what happened in Athens, what happened in Rome, what happened during the Christian era, and what happened during the chivalric era. Or chivalric era, or you can say that is chivalric systems also. Then the sixth point he says is Thomas Love Peacock. You remember, no? He says that this poetry has no use, no utility. It is a waste of time. So intelligent people should give up pursuit of literary pursuit also. And because it is a useless, he says. But then he defines, sixth point is that he defines what is utility. What is meant by utility? You can think like this, no? That is, everything has got use. Some of these have exchange value, some of these have aesthetic value. So these are the things that he is discussing. Understand? The seventh point is, that's very important, the moral condition of man. The moral condition of man, then if there were no poetry. That is it. What would have happened to the moral condition if no poetry? If no poetry. What would have happened? All this enlightenment, etc. would have, we would have missed this. And then the eighth point is, he says, the functions of poetical faculty. Yesterday we had this idea, no? Functions of poetical. What is to create? You remember that? Eighth point is that functions of poetical faculty. Poetic faculty is enough, not poetical. Poetic faculty. So the functions of the poetic faculty. Yesterday we have already seen, no, that it creates new materials, creates new knowledge, creates power, creates pleasure. The poetic faculty has this. And then also it says it arranges everything. The poetic faculty of humans. It creates new materials, creates new power, pleasure, knowledge. And also it arranges things. I told you something to do with the secondary imagination and fancy, the concept of fancy of this. And then you have got, ninth point is the poetic process. Poetic process. Synthesis. Synthesis. As we always say, no, the smithy of the artist. James Lewis, famous. The smithy of the artist, where there is a strange alchemy that works. So what happens is that there is a synthesis taking place in the mind of the artist, which is something beyond your reason, which something that cannot be explained by your reason or your deliberations or your will. Because the poetic faculty is not controlled it can never be brought under the control of your will. Reason you can, logic you can. You can sit down and write down a syllogism saying that all men are mortal, so Helen is a woman. All women are mortal. Helen is a woman, and therefore Helen is mortal. Anytime you can sit down and write. If you can sit straight, you can write. But you cannot sit down on a chair and say, I am going to write a poetry. It's impossible. I am going to write a poem. You cannot say. Because that is something that it's an unpremeditated art. It is a flash of heavenly, celestial light. Celestial light. You cannot, it comes and it goes. Sometimes what you even write is a shadow of only what you feel, what the celestial light that you feel. Even the greatest poems, if you see, you will find that the poet at certain times failed to communicate what he receives, the flash of light that he receives from the celestial powers or the heavenly powers. So that is a big difference between the poetic process and the process of reasoning. Process of reasoning you can do anytime. If you are healthy enough, you can sit down, read something and you make a note. But you cannot write a poem like that. So if you have got the experience of writing, you sit down and sit. Sometimes what happens is that you can sit for 24 hours thinking of something like this. Nothing will come. But then next week or something, as you are passing or walking along the road or sitting in a railway station where you can't, where no human being can concentrate on anything. Can you concentrate on something sitting in a railway station? Impossible. There's a lot of things. Just imagine that Madras Central or a railway station in Delhi and so on. What noise it would be. But still, a poet can. He can sit down there and write a piece. That is the difference. Because at the moment he starts creating, he is transformed into another being. There you are. So, bird thou never wert. So you, human being thou never wert. When you start the process of creating something new, that is the poetic process. Very beautifully, Shelley has expressed that, explained that, and explored that. You must read. It's a must read. Listen. Then he says, ultimately he says, who is a poet? A poet is a creator. The only person in the world who partakes in the process of creation of God is the poet. And he is the unacknowledged legislator. That is the last sentence of this essay. A defense of poetry written as a rebuttal to, not an argument, as a rebuttal to a magazine piece, The 4 Ages of Poetry, written by, all through the essay, The 4 Ages of Poetry, his friend Thomas Love Peacock is teasing. In conclusion, is teasing. So this is a rebuttal. And then he says, justly he concludes. How does he conclude? Poet is creator and legislator. Legislator. Creators means create something new. Poet is a creator and a legislator. He is creating something new and participates in the process of the activity of creation of God. See? And then he says, he is unacknowledged legislator because he brings order in a chaotic world. He brings order in a chaotic world. The world as such is chaotic. There's no order, anarchy. So in this world where anarchy reigns, where you find only chaos everywhere, you see the poets bringing order. What is the purpose of legislation? It is for bringing order. So the poet does that. So these are the 10 points that he deals in this essay, A Defense of Poetry, written as a rebuttal to his friend Thomas Love Peacock's The 4 Ages of Poetry, where he categorically states that in a world of science and mechanical things, poetry and imagination has no place. So, worthwhile people who are intelligent, people who can think should give up the pursuit of literature, and they should do something useful with their brain. And to this, once again I will just go through this, just refreshing, says the first definition of reason and imagination. What is reason? What is imagination? Reason is the, imagination is the agent, and reason is only the matter, he says. Like money is to businessman. Businessman makes use of money. So imagination makes use of reason. That's what this is. More of this we will see tomorrow. Like money is to businessman. Like a notebook is to a boy, a school child. School child is the agent. A notebook is the stuff with which he works. Like that. Imagination is the agent. And reason is only the stuff, the raw material. Or you can say, as the raw material is to the producer. If you have got wax, raw material, he produces candle out of that, like that. So reason is chaotic in a way we can say, like a raw material. So these things we will see tomorrow more in detail. I just introduced that. Then second point we have seen poetry in general and poetry in restricted sense. Third we have seen poets, philosophers, prose writers, story writers, and then you have got historians. All are poets, he said. Lord Bacon is a poet, he says, that way. Then we say effects of poetry on the soul. Then critical history of poetry and its effect upon society. He gives a very significant or a profound view, we can say, of poetry in Athens, arts in Athens, Rome, Christian and chivalric times. Understand? Then he says, what is utility? Because his friend had said that it's of no use. So intelligent people should use their reason for something useful. Then what is utility he defines. And then you have got what is utility? The moral conditions of men in this one. It will remain slaves. Function of poetic faculty. So that is creating something new and also order, rhythm, poetic process. I have already told you, something that is beyond your control. Poetic process is unpremeditated, inverted commas. Unpremeditated. Nobody can say, oh, today I will sit down and write a poem. It's impossible. The inspiration has to come from where we don't know. And it is said, no? How many times you might have seen the daffodils, or in our place, a cluster of flowers. But why can't we write a poem like Wordsworth wrote daffodils? Why? How many times you have seen clouds in the sky? Why can't you respond to that clouds in the sky. I wandered lonely as a cloud. Why? You have seen that. Why can't we do it? Why can't A, B, C, D do it? Because it does not have that inspiration. Even if you have got that inspiration, what happens is, the product that comes out, what you see on paper, is only a shadow of what is in your mind. Unable to communicate the full power of that imagination. It's not possible. So poetic process. And then you have got, means poetic process is not within our control. But reasoning is within our control. Logic is within your control. Thoughts are within your control. But not poetic inspiration. And that's very, very important point. People will say, what is this? They criticize. Is it? Then somebody after reading, April is the cruelest month. Reading dialects of the dead land. Then somebody asks, why can't you say May is the cruelest month? In this way people react. Or they say, why dialects, why can't you say rose? Cannot. Why? Because the inspiration is such. You understand that? That's the point. Yes. So then, poet is a creator and a legislator. What does he create? He creates new materials. That's why you say it is creation. Creating is a metaphysical process. Creating, it is a metaphysical. Metaphysical means other physical. Other physical means heavenly. Physical is this. Physics means of this world. But metaphysical is something different. Meta, other. Meta theatre, meta theatre. Meta theatrical. For example, in Hamlet, you have got meta theatricality. Means play within a play. Hamlet is already a play. There is another play within that. That is, we call it meta theatricality. It's other theatre. Like that. So these are the main points that he discusses. We will see these things from tomorrow onwards or next day onwards. I hope that you are enjoying my classes. You like Shelley. Shelley died at the age of 29. Very, very sad, isn't it? Very, very sad. Such a fiery intellect. He was a fiery intellect, so to say. If he would have lived, say, up to 90 or so, I think the world would have been different. So such a I am air and fire, like that. He was air and fire. So let's see. Hope that I have made an attempt to inspire you to get into the text as such. Start reading. And the English is so immaculate, impeccable, and so beautifully written. A critic whose name I forget, I to be very frank with you, he says, the beautifully written essay, A Defense of Poetry, is an analysis of the very inner secrets of poetry. The inner stuff, what is it? So, as students of literature, you must read. It is a must read. It will have a very benevolent effects on you. Understand? Hoping that you will definitely get a copy of this. You can download it from the net, as I have done. I have downloaded it from the net. So you can also do that, or if you have got the text available in a library, you can do that. You can use that. But whatever it is, start reading today itself. See, if it's a 10 days, you can devote 1 day for a point. Like that you can complete it in 10 days. If you devote 2 points, it is 5 days. If you can devote 3 points, it is 3 days, and so on. Why should I tell you like this? You may think like that. Okay, this is because of my commitment to what I am doing. See that? That's why I told you should read the text. Every day I tell you the same thing. I have never, so from Aristotle to Shelley I have come. We have done, I said together, you remember, we have done Aristotle, we have done Horace, we have done Longinus, we have done Philip Sidney, and then I think after that we got into professed to lyrical ballads, isn't it? Then Coleridge, Theory of Imagination, and what was the next one? Dramatic poesy. Dramatic poesy. Essay of dramatic poesy by Dryden, and then essay on criticism by Pope, Alexander Pope, and after that we did Dr. Johnson, Professor Shakespeare. I have to complete. I have done only 5 lectures on that. I am collecting materials. It will take some more time, then 3 or 4 lectures more we will wind up. And now it is P.B.SHELLEY. Yes. And immediately after that we will go on to Mathew Arnold, the founding father of modern criticism. The founding father of modern criticism. So you have heard of new criticism and so on. So it was he who inaugurated. So from with we can say Shelley is a part. You can almost say this one part is over, you can say. So from innocence to Shelley. Now from here we begin the modern or the new criticism, the trends. The trend begins with Mathew Arnold. After this we will take that up. Okay? So till then, bye. Have a nice day. Enjoy your life.